What do you think of when you think of the term mental illness? Maybe you'll think of a story kind of like mine. I grew up in a rural village in the poorest province of China, part of the indigenous Puyi Autonomous Zone. And I moved to the United States when I was about 9 or 10 years old. At the time, my family was living below the poverty line. My family was also deeply patriarchal, and I learned very quickly that not only was I not wanted, but I was actively thrown out quite a few times. What I learned throughout this time was that maybe I should start to believe the things that people were telling me were wrong with me, that I, in fact, did not deserve the air that I breathed. And at 13 years old, I really took that to heart. I ended up getting diagnosed with bipolar disorder and later PTSD, and around that time, I attempted suicide. My little brother was the one who found me. Now, given my family's situation, Child Protective Services got involved and I became my brother's legal guardian. So as someone who really identified herself as my little brother's mother, how can I drag him down into the darkness with me? I knew I needed to heal, even if I didn't myself care about where I would go. So I started writing letters to strangers. And that's when I found that maybe I have a voice, a story worth telling, but more importantly, a life that's worth living. So I created it as a student club in my high school with the motto that writing is humanity distilled into ink. And at first I had to bribe my friends with free pizza to come to the lunch meetings, but then eventually they kept showing up and people from other schools wanted in, and then other states and eventually other countries. So over the last 10 years, from something I started at 14 years old to now, we've directly served over 500,000 youths in over 70 countries. And we do this through 3 main pathways. The first is, of course, our namesake letter writing program, which are anonymous exchanges between students on school clubs or in local communities through what we call our chapters network. The second is our peer education, including a 500-page long curriculum and teacher's handbook that we teach in high schools and universities worldwide, working with governments and partnerships on the ground. And last but not least is our grassroots policy-based advocacy. So that includes, for example, the first toll-free Pan-African mental health hotline run out of our Liberia office and now on the national budget of the government. But all of this just reminds me that none of us are on this earth alone. And even though hurt people, healed people heal people. So I hope that we can remember that all of us have a role to play in this intergenerationally, but also globally, remembering that the treatment options, even the very ways we diagnose mental illness, talk about it, is so rooted in colonialism as well as just Western frameworks in general, that the vast majority of the world cannot access it the same way that a lot of us in more privileged situations can. I want us to remember those nuances, those contexts, as we talk about why this is also so intersectional. Tying into our various expertise, areas, and passions, everything is interconnected: mental, physical health, health and climate change, etc. So I hope that we can all remember health starts with us, it does not end with us, and our story continues to live on. So I hope we can write one that we can be proud of in the future.